Yo, what is up guys, it is Twehbie here, and this will be the video of the skill build of Erta. Now take note, I don't know the ins and outs just yet, so the skill build is subject to change. Now, I don't have the usual website to make a skill build, so I'll do this within the game. Hopefully you guys will understand this. Now, you got all sorts of skills in this character. You got PvE and PvP skills. For every skill I will tell you guys whether it is useful for PvE or PvP, whether to put 1 or maximum points into it. So let's get it cracking. Acrobatic. Now this is a great combo skill. It has another skill book that I know on 57, so it could do a lot of damage. There's an additional hit, so I like this on both PvE and PvP, so I maximize this. The bounce attack is a really great skill. Scales pretty well with the damage. For both PvE and PvP, I would maximize this skill. Now the double swing is questionable. It has a full iframe on the full cast, which is about roughly 2 seconds. You can break mortal chain cuts with it. You can just do anything with it. It is really good. So for PvE, the damage is not great, but for PvP, as an initial hit, you could either leave it at level 1 or maximize it. Now the rising upper has 2 additions. One is just a normal upswing, which does a lot of damage, and then you have the flurry of spins, which actually is used for PvP as to getting up people from the ground, which is also really good. Now for PvE, only maximize this, don't get the flurry of spins. And for PvP, just put 1 point into the flurry of spins for the pickup attacks. Now here we have the bottom attack. This does a lot of damage in both PvE and PvP. Also has a skill book from what I know. You can charge this up for a gazillion of damage. So in both PvE and PvP, maximize it. The multi-summon does not do a lot of damage, gives you iframe though, which is pretty good. But as for scaling, keep it at level 1. Now the healing dance, this is your win button. You can hula hoop people to death and just be all fancy with it. Skills amazingly with levels. Maximize it, no questions asked. Now the perfect sliding, I've seen Japanese people maximize it in PvE. Now in PvP, it does not do as much as you'd hope. It has a slow startup. You can use it into combos when people have already used their get up attack, but if they haven't, this skill is pretty much useless. So if you have points left, try and maximize it. If you don't, just don't. Now the forward step, this skill does a gazillion of damage if you scale it after level 1, but it is hard to hit. You can use this within a combo. It stuns actually if you land the first initial hit, which you can like use with anything. So this one is really questionable. So it is the same as perfect sliding. You gotta make a choice at some point. Do you want to max perfect sliding or forward step? If you have points left, I would say forward step would be the better option. Now the electric pole, no questions asked. Both PvE and PvP maximize this. Does a lot of damage, pulls and everything nice. Now the backward step, same case as forward step. It's a little hard to hit, but if you do hit it, it could do a lot of damage, but level 1 more than enough for both PvE and PvP. Now the flying spin kick, it's still questionable whether you should put it in a build or not. I would say 0 or 1 points in both PvE and PvP. The aerial summon is level 2 because of my set, but level 1 is good. I can use this one in a combo, and I still need to try it out whether it actually does physical damage or magical damage. If it does magical damage, then maximize this, because this could do a lot of damage. Now the breakthrough, level 1, both PvE and PvP, is great to chase people with it, but you're still vulnerable against some things. At some point, projectiles don't work against this rush, so except for piercing ones. Now the juggling, keep this at level 1. Great super armor frame, great for interrupting enemies, and if you really want to go pure PvP, this is great for a pickup as well, so I would maximize it at PvP if you go purely for that. Scratch ground, now I personally don't like this skill. The startup is really big. It's great for a ring out though, if you want to go real bitch ass, but that's it. Crossfire, now this skill could be maximized in PvP. I don't like it for PvE that much. Scaling is not that great for PvP, but for PvP, scaling this can be used within a stun, then fully hit people just to deal the finishing blow. Now the charge current, which is the other ultimate skill, could do a lot of damage in PvE, but in PvP, like you can see, it does literally no scaling. I would keep this at level 1 at all times, because even in PvE has a large startup time and kills like basically all of your SP points, because you need the addition on this one, which is overcurrent. This is also part of the skill, which also costs a lot of points if you want to maximize all of this. So I would say it's not worth to maximize it. Now, as for the command skills, the trampoline hit, used for stomping people in the nuts. Then the quick move, which is good, grants you another iframe next to your normal left and right shifts. Now, the quick strike for PvP does a lot of damage. For PvE, I'm not very sure whether you should maximize it, but overall I just like the damage. Teleport 1 point, you need this one to port into all of the thing is, I don't care about messages. Now the electric spark PvE, don't maximize it. Put 1 point into it for maybe the iframe if you want it that much. But for PvP, you can combo this one. It's a little bit hard, but it's definitely worth it. Now the aerial chakram in both PvE and PvP, great startup skill to catch people off guard. It's to me, if people are not paying attention, then you can get past people's guards and still hit them, because the guard will actually not push you back, but you will hit yourself forward anyway, so your hitbox will actually go past the guard, which is just a really nifty skill. Now the advanced dash gives you more mobility, 1 point gives it a maximum. Same for technical dodge, which actually gives you another evasive dash, which is basically the bread and butter of this class in PvP. The Chakram expertise is already at master, so you cannot change this. If it would, you use a lot of auto attacks within the combos, but that's about it. The link skill. Now both in PvE and PvP, keep this at level 1. The scaling is not that great. The cooldown is good though, but I would say it's not worth it. Maybe in PvE you could maximize this for like a lot of damage output, because the cooldown is only 3 seconds, but you need to be very wary about your rotations that way. So yeah, questionable at best. As for the passives, now you got 2 of the best passives within the game. Opportunity cost and the opportunity cost 2, which gives you physical defense down, magical defense down, but in return you got a lot of attack speed and a lot of movement speed, and that is what this class is all about, so you need this. Now passion level 1 increases the spin attacks during healing dance, very great, both PvE and PvP. Maximize this. Now proportion is a very questionable, takes up 8 SP every single time you put anything into it, which only grants you 5 wisdom, 5 intelligence every single time you scale it. So in the end, you will waste up a lot of SP for just a little bit of wisdom and a little bit of intelligence. I would say it's not worth it to maximize it or even put 1 point into it. Now the magic mastery, always good, just more magical attack. I like that shit. HP and MP mastery, both for PvP, maximizing. For PvE, Max MP is not great. I would not do it. As for the critical increase, now whether you have shitty gear or not, if you get to 70, don't maximize this skill, get some other jazz. Or if you want to get a attack speed weapon, maximize this so you can balance out the crit. That was it for the whole skill build. Hope you guys liked it. If you have any questions, if I went too fast, put it up in the comments. Once again, if you like my stuff, if you like what I do, please support me by just liking the video, subscribe to my channel. This is Twehbie. Peace.